Hello, welcome to Your Simple Golf Swing. I'm Matt. This video I want to talk to you about the power weight transfer. It's the weight transfer that we use in the Your Simple Golf Swing method that's based on and was taught by Mike Austin and Mike Dunaway. And the reason I want to discuss this today is because it's probably one of the hardest things for people to really wrap their head around and perform properly. And it's not because it's difficult. It's very easy. In fact, that's probably the problem. It's too easy. It's too simple. And people, they seem to think there's got to be more to it than that. So I'm going to go over it and I'm going to discuss some of the problems or some of the reasons that people have problems with doing this proper weight transfer. Once the light bulb comes on and you realize how simple it really is, it'll blow your mind at how much power it's going to release in your swing. Mike Austin talked about how all the levers, the 12 levers, and for those of you that don't know what those levers are, I'm sorry for those of you that do, and I sound like a broken record, but it's important. Those levers are your joints, and they're your two wrists, your two elbows, two shoulders, two hips, two knees, and two ankles. So those levers, Mike Austin talked about how you need to use those levers unimpeded. That means you don't want a lot of undue or unnecessary stress in them. Now, of course, when you get into your backswing, you're going to feel a little bit of stress in different areas, but our joints, those levers, are going to be nice and loose, and they're going to allow us to maximize the acceleration through the ball, okay? Well, a lot of people have trouble with the weight shift because of one little concept that they're not quite trusting, okay? So we're gonna go over that in this video today. Before I get started, I wanna welcome everybody that's new to my channel. I teach the Mike Austin, Mike Dunaway swing. I call it the Your Simple Golf Swing method. I did not come up with this swing. Mike Austin, who hit the longest drive in competition ever, 515 yards back in 73. It was 515 yards in the Las Vegas Senior Open, and he did that with an old Balata ball and the old persimmon driver. Well, he was the longest hitter in history, and that's what this swing is based on, okay? If you want to learn the swing quickly, go down into the description. You'll see a link. You can sign up for my online course. All the teaching or all the video in the online course was made exclusively for the course. I've never published any of it on YouTube, okay? So it'll take you through every step of the swing, from the way you grip the club, your stance, your takeaway, your swing, everything. Everything you need to know to learn the swing quickly. Okay, so let's get into this weight transfer and how simple it really is. So the weight transfer that I teach, same as Mike Austin, same as Mike Dunaway, is not a turn, it's a tilt. And what we mean by that is when we straighten our right leg and bend our left leg, our hips tilt, and then we turn, and then we tilt and we turn back, okay? I've had a lot of different students come to me and say, Matt, I've got some trouble with that. I don't feel balanced, you know, when I put all that weight back on that right foot, and I just don't know if I'm doing it right. And then people ask me, do I need to bring that left heel up? And all kinds of problems that they're having. Well, when I see videos that people send me on their swings and they discuss these problems, or when I talk one-on-one with somebody in person, I notice there's one thing in this setup that is really setting them up for failure. This swing is built on a series, different links in a chain, if you will. And you've got to get every one of those right in order for the next part of the swing to work. The biggest problem I see is people's setup. And what they don't really get is the knee flex as opposed to the knee bend, okay? There's a big difference when you've got your knees bent or if you have your knees just simply flexed. Now, I teach knees flex. That's what Austin taught. That's what Dunaway taught. Why is that important? Well, the reason it's important is because when we shift our weight from one side to the other, all we're doing is we're just simply straightening this knee and bending this one. That's all it is. And you'll see the hip We just kind of let that hip go over. It just goes over. So that hip is over that right ankle. And that's all there is to the weight shift in the back. And then you just turn. That's all there is to it. People have trouble with this is because the reason they're having trouble is they're trying to do this from a knee bent position. And when you have a knee bent position and you try doing this, it's going to feel really awkward, and it's almost going to feel like a reverse pivot. You've got too much bend here in the hips, too much bend here in the knees, and there's also now a bend introduced down in the ankle. So now you have introduced bending in 6 of the 12 joints. And when you introduce that unnecessary bending, and then you try to straighten this leg and kick this one in, you're going to feel very awkward. It's also going to cause you to bend your back more. And that's just not going to allow you to swing with impedance, with non-impeded, okay? So how do we overcome that? How do we fix that in our swing and in our setup? Well, I had my neighbor, he was over here the other day. He's a retired police officer. He just recently decided that he wanted to take up golf again after not hitting for 15 years or so. And he was standing back here, and he was getting a little too much knee bend. And he wasn't quite getting the weight shift right. And I told him, okay, let's say that you're standing out there on a tee box, and you're waiting to tee off. And the group ahead of you is out there in the fairway, and you're waiting, okay? When you're standing there, a lot of times, you'll stand there like this. One knee straightened, other one bent. And after you stand that way for a little while, you might switch over to the other side like that. That's really all we're doing. We're just doing this, just switching from one side to the other. That's all we're doing in this weight shift. The primary thing that we have to remember is to keep the head steady. Now, if you notice, while you're standing there, this is a very natural position, standing like that. You're not standing there with this knee bent way down like that, okay? You're not standing like this, waiting, and then switching over and waiting. You're not doing that. That's too much knee bend. Stand very erect, almost err on the side of straight legs. I would rather you do that than have a whole bunch of knee bend. But if you notice, when I do my setup, here I am with my driver. When I do my setup with my driver, and let me see if I can pull this up a little bit so you can see my ugly legs. But if you look at that knee, I just have just a little flex. I'm just shy of being locked. That's all it is. If I was done like this and I tried to do this, now that pushes this hip back and out of place, and it makes me bend my back more. All my weight is actually on this foot here. There's no weight shift at all. We need to get our weight to this side. So the way we do that is we simply start off with knee flex, no knee bend. No bend, just flex. Here's locked, here's flex. Here's locked, here's flex. That's all there is to it. And you just go like that and like that. It's a really, really easy thing to do. This will give you the most powerful swing there is in golf. Just simply doing this, and just keep your head in one place and just practice doing this. Do not bend your knees. When I say knee flex, think locked. Okay, I'm just going to unlock them. Now they're just unlocked. When you just unlock your knees, then what you're able to do is you're able to just straighten this one while you lift that left heel. And your hip will naturally shift to the right. And then when we come down in the downswing, we're just doing the opposite. That's all there is to it. That keeps your head from bobbing up and down. That keeps you from doing the dreaded reverse pivot where you've got all this weight on this side. Your hips may be over here, but your upper body's way over here. All your weight's over here, and that's why people can't lift that heel, because they got all their weight over here. Don't bend your knees. Knee flex. That's the key. It's as simple as that. It's very hard for people to get that into their subconscious, into their routine. I remember when I started learning golf many years ago, back in those days, you know, a lot of us didn't have money to afford lessons, so we bought I bought VHS tapes. And there was this guy named John Elliott, very good teacher, well-known guy, but I'll never forget when he taught the stance. He says, okay, the stance is, think of yourself as a shortstop or a second baseman out there ready to field a ground ball. And he got crouched way down like this. And that's how he taught the stance. And that's how I originally learned it. And you can't help but do that reverse pivot where you've got all of your weight actually on this side. And you just have no power there, no power at all, because you're not shifting that body behind the ball and then throwing it into that ball. So key thing to remember, work on your knee flex, get rid of your knee bend, and simply hang out on that tee box, waiting. Just hang out on the tee box, waiting. That's all there is to it. That's your weight shift. And when you do that, you can lift this foot up, no problem. If you're like this, you can't lift that foot up or you'll fall. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope this helps. Again, if you want to sign up for my course, go down in the description, click on the link, and get started today. Happy golfing.